election. Hey, there we go. There we go. Our guest tonight is the George Milhouse and Naomi Doyle. It's our runoff candidates that are going to be running for the primary for July 14th election. And I want to know, and I want to make sure that we let our audience and our viewers know that who is the candidates. And that's George Milhouse. And say hello, George. And that's Mrs. Naomi Doyle. How are you, ladies? How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Great. How are y'all doing? Thank you for having me, Tony.
Hey, thank you. Thank you to come on, and was glad to come on, and I'm glad you're here. And we're just going to share a little information to the audience. So, we hear people always talk about who's running, who's the candidate, what they represent, what's their platform. So now we have a voice. We have a way to share that to them and educate them who our candidates are. And again, we're on Knowledge is Power. If you do not have a Facebook page, if you're not in Facebook, you can always YouTube me at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live on YouTube. And I also have a Knowledge is Power Live Podcast Facebook page. So go there and like it. Let's go into our candidates. And again, welcome to Knowledge is Power. Now, let me ask you guys, how did you hear about Knowledge is Power? I know you weren't ready for that question, was you?
Well, I heard about it because the Texas Young Democrats, which I am the vice president of, was on here last week, and you hosted a phenomenal show, and you got to introduce our organization and what we plan on doing for the Democratic Party in our county. So that's how I heard about you, and I started watching some of your videos on YouTube. So I see that you're a good platform for educating our community.
Oh, thank you. Let me stick it out a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into it. And
what happened?
Who said that?
I went blank there, but I'm back now.
You there now? Okay.
Hey, Tony, I heard about you on Facebook. You posted a message on Facebook that you're going to start this show. So at that point in time, I started watching. Knowledge is power.
That's right. You can't have no power. You don't have no knowledge.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I just want to make sure. I just want to ask that question because our audience has grown tremendously in the past 30 days, 45 days, and it's unbelievable that we're having an average of 91 shares of this program. So Let's keep doing what we're doing and sharing and educating our community. And also, and this show is good because I want the people to know that we are here to help by informing and educating them on topics that directly affect them in our area. Now, please let me tell you about yourself. I want you to tell us, the audience and viewers, about yourself, like your background info on what has prepared you for this job. And I'm going to start with the young lady first.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Naomi Doyle, and I am your candidate for Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1. I look forward to fighting for you in the People's Court. I have been educationally prepared. I have my bachelor's in political science and my master's in public administration to be an elected official, to be able to run a governmental office. I have the legislative experience. I interned at the Texas House of Representatives, where I was on the Small Business and Economic Development Committee. There, I was charged with researching bills, putting together the intent and the unintended consequences that are associated with bills and how to read them and how to understand them and how to properly legislate those particular bills. And then also I have the leadership experience. I am currently your elections manager here in Jefferson County, where I administer the elections for all 250,000 residents in Jefferson County. I read the election laws, both state, federal, and local, and to make sure that we not only adhere to the laws, but that the laws are implemented in a way that is beneficial and not oppressive to our voters. So I have the educational, legislative, and leadership experience that's needed to be a judge in the Justice of the Peace courts. That is why I am running. I'm running because I am prepared. And more importantly, I am running because I am passionate about bettering my community. That is what this campaign is about. It is about bettering the community, using the Justice of the Peace courts not only to do the duties that are associated with the JP office, but adhering to the call of the people. The people are saying, we want something more than someone who's going to sit behind the bench and do a job. We want somebody who's going to fight for our community, who's going to be responsive, who's going to make sure that social justice is had for every single person in the county. And that is what I'm here to do. That was what led me to run. That is what allowed me the opportunity to win the primary with the most votes. I heard the people, I am responsive to the people, and I look forward to fighting for you all in the People's Court as we take on this July victory. But more importantly, because I'm here and I'm ready and I'm prepared to fight for you, and I'm passionate about bettering my community.
Oh, wonderful. George, you're up next, George.
That's a whole lot there, Tony.
Okay.
Tell us. I'm George Milhouse. I'm a 30-year veteran of law enforcement. I have been around in Lamar University to BISD to Jefferson County 172nd District Court. I have a vast knowledge of experience. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have a master's peace officer certification. That allows, what that has done is given me the training, the experience, and the knowledge to do the job day one. For instance, crime scene investigation, child abuse prevention and investigation, traffic laws, penal code, crime code of criminal procedure, government code, family code. I even touched a little bit on elections code, but even though I don't do that, I've learned a little bit since I've been running for office. Rules of evidence, the role of civil procedure, civil practice and remedies code. I've studied all those codes. So that's the reason why I believe that I am prepared and ready for day one to start the job. The course itself, the job itself says that you would have to attend an 80-hour course. Well, attending the 80-hour course, that's something that these classes I've already done. So basically, that's a refresher course for me to go in, just refresh my knowledge on what I've learned and I understand about the laws. And so that's making me prepared day one. I was a supervisor for Lamar University for 15 years. I wrote warrants, supervised investigations, oversaw budgets and managed personnel, conduct internal affairs investigation. I was over training, prepare reports for federal and audit reports for the state of Texas and the federal government. So I've done a vast number of things. And that's the reason why I keep telling everyone I am prepared day one to start the job as Justice of the Peace.
Thank you, George. Thank you, guys. So this is the rules for the night. I've given you 5 minutes each to introduce yourself, and we're going to ask questions. And I'm going to ask some questions, and if the viewers would like to ask questions, you can post you can comment in the comment box of the questions you like to ask the candidates. Okay, so here's my first question is, let's go here. I'm going to go here and ask, what does being a Justice of the Peace mean? What are the specific duties? And where is the Precinct 1 located? I'll start with you, George, this time.
Okay, the duties of the Justice of the Peace, basically there are 6 primary duties of the Justice of the Peace: small claims, debt claims, repair and remedy, eviction, traffic and Class C misdemeanors, and death inquest. They do other things like DWI. They comes in and do administrative hearings. So but those are the primary 6 duties that the Justice of the Peace do. Small claims, up to 10,000, soon to be 20,000. Debt claims, the same thing. Repair and remedy. That's where a lot of people don't know. They have problems with their landlord, and having problems with the landlord, they don't know what to do. Well, they can come to the court and they can file the necessary paperwork to force their landlord to fix the property, or deduction in rent. It's a number of things that can be done to force the landlord to repair the property or to give them their money back. And of course, the eviction. The eviction pretty much is pretty much what it says, evictions. But however, once that paperwork is filed by the landlord, there are means that you can use to fight that eviction. Now, one thing that I plan on doing is have self-help booklets out for the people. Having those books out for the people enable the people to educate the people on what goes on and what their rights are. A lot of people don't know what their rights are. So that's something that I plan on doing, is educating the people and giving the knowledge back to the power, as Tony would say, the power back to the people. Now, the Justice of the Peace Precinct 1 position itself encompasses from Brooks Road to Bevel Oaks to Lawrence Drive to downtown Beaumont, north end of Beaumont. That's a big district. So that's pretty much, when I did my research, it says 91 miles. And there's 33 precincts in the district. So that's a large district. That's why we have 2 JPs in this district. Currently, the Precinct 1 Place 2 position is held by Judge Collins. And in July, I expect to be holding the position of Place 1.
All right, great timing too. You had a little time left. That's great. Listen, I'm going to change the question here, and I'm going to ask Naomi, and I'm going to come back to you, George, and ask you the same question that I'm about to ask Naomi. Naomi, why should the public choose you as the Justice of the Peace?
That's a great question. And first, I want to thank every single person that voted for me in the March primary and allowed me to be the winner of the primary with the most votes. Thank you all. And to those who are unsure and those who need to turn back out on July 14th, I am the only candidate with the educational, the legislative, and the leadership experience to do the job to a standard of excellence. It's easy to spout off what the duties are of a Justice of the Peace, but being able to understand the laws that actually affect those duties is important. Being able to read the laws and understand them is important. Listen, anyone who becomes Justice of the Peace has to go to the training. So I have a book here with all the training information as well. But when I go, I'm going to be refreshed because every night I study, I do my due diligence to understand what the JP does, and then also being able to use the office to be more impactful to our community. That's what this is about. It's about more than just doing the duties of the JP. We need leadership that is accountable to our community, responsive to our community, ready to do something more than just legislate from behind the bench, to just sit behind the bench and make rulings. We need someone who's going to fight to make our community better, and that is what I'm here to do. I have the preparation to do the job that you deserve and you are expected of me to do, but I'm going to do it to a standard of excellence. I mean, I'm going above and beyond because this is not a job I'm looking to retire from. This is a job that I look forward to fighting in the streets, in the community, making sure that you guys are heard, making sure that we better our community during my tenure as your Justice of the Peace.
Thank you, Naomi. Okay, George, I'm going to ask the same question, and I'll repeat it. Why should the public choose you as the Justice of the Peace?
I want to keep it simple, Tony. I want to just tell you experience. I have the experience.
Tell me about your experience.
Experience. A lot of the duties that I have already done. For instance, like I stated earlier, I've written warrants. Justice of the Peace, when a police officer bring in a warrant, you must know what you're signing. I've written a warrant. See, these things I have done. I've been on inquest, not so much inquest, but I've been on murder scenes. I've investigated, assisted, and done a lot of duties that the Justice of the Peace have done. Not only that, we would take reports. Oh, sir, what would take place? I would evaluate the call. Do you want to file charges? The person say, no, I want to take it to JP court. Well, that's what they do. Then I would either do a report and then submit it to the JP court, and I'm doing the same thing. So these duties, and this is why I say I have the experience and knowledge and know how to do the job day one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stay with you there, George, and I'm going to ask them to back to you again and back to back and ask you what makes you the better candidate for the position of the JP. Uh-oh, you locked up. Let's go to Naomi. I guess I'm gonna have to move on to you. Oh, George.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess refresh your page, George. All right. Okay, back to you. I guess we'll move on to you now, Naomi. What makes you the better candidate for the position for JP?
What makes me the better candidate and the best candidate for this particular office is not only my preparation, being educated and having the internship experience in legislation, having all those things, having the leadership experience that you will want as a judge to serve you. But more importantly, I don't have the biases that are associated with the law enforcement lens. I don't have those biases. So it's important that we keep law enforcement where it is. We need them. We need them to protect and to serve our community. That is where that belongs, out in our community, keeping us safe, keeping us protected. Where we see problems with law enforcement and those biases is when they decide to step out of the realm of what they are expected to do and try to be judge and jury. That is not what they're called for. I am called to make sure that the law is administered in a way that is just and fair to all citizens. That is what judges do. So we need to be very careful about how we try to marry and mix up law enforcement experience and how that equates to a judge in the justice of the peace courts, because a judge has to understand laws. A judge has to be able to administer the law in the best interest for the community, for the person who's in front of them. That is what we expect of judges. So it's very, very clear. So it's very, very important that we understand what is expected of a judge. And because I know what is expected of it, and because I know the people who voted for me and the people who care about bettering the community understand, a judge is someone who's going to read the law, understand the law, and administer in the best interest for the community. That is why I am the best candidate and the better candidate, because I have the experience that matters to be a judge in the justice of the peace court.
Okay, George, I'm going to come back to you. You ready? You there? Hello, George. George. Well, now, George. Let's go to George and see if he can come on this way then.
Okay.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. Now I lost you. Lost you again. So I'm going to wait till you come back on and see how we're going to make this work. Again, folks, we are having a little difficulty with one of the candidates. Let me just explain let me give you a reminder of what's going on Sunday for our Sunday podcast. We're having a live job fair on this Sunday. Knowledge is power. Please join us with Marshalene Rivera of the Creative Corrections and Education Foundation. They're going to be with us, along with the Texas Workforce Solution. So make sure that you all come join us Sunday at 7:30 on. There we go. Mic check, baby. We gotta give mic check.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Okay, you changed mic. Okay, all right. Let me stop.
Yeah, I switched to my phone. Apparently, my internet is weak. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, great, no problem. As long as you got there, I was gonna stop it because I didn't want to have any type of disadvantage for either one of you. But let's get back to what we were talking about. And John, I'm going to ask you this question. What makes you the better candidate for the position of Justice of the Peace?
Well, I heard bits and pieces of Naomi's answer, but you know, the past JPs, Judge Ingstrom, and the current JP, Judge Deuce Jones, Judge Collins, they all have law enforcement experience. I have the same experience that they have. And the citizens of Beaumont felt that they were knowledge, they were equipped to do the job. Judge Collins just seated this year. Judge Jones has been in the office for a number of years now. Judge Dollinger, who was an attorney, but he started out in law enforcement, and when he was elected to the position, he was graduating for law school. So I have the experience of the past JPs, and they did a tremendous job, and the current JPs, and they're doing a tremendous job. See, my overall experience is different, from Judge Dollinger. Like I stated earlier, he was a attorney. He later became attorney, but because of my level of experience, I'd rather focus on how to build upon what he has already done and created and enacted. What Judge Dollinger had prepared, he has different programs that he was over, and currently I'm working on those programs that I can keep those programs in office. These are the things that I know that are going on that works, and those are the things that I want to currently do it and keep as the JP in Precinct 1. Now, as far as Ms. Doyle having the most votes, yes, she did. But she did not win. She has to win 50%. This is why we're in a runoff. This is the second half. And this is the part that I win. So as JP, Precinct 1, I am the people person. I've been working with the people for 30 years. As far as talking with people, speaking with the elderly, helping people. I would even say before that, I had a young man send me a post and tell me when I was 19 years old, I helped him with his racial indifferences. So I've been working in the community and working with people for a number of years. So I have the experience, knowledge, and know how to do the job day one.
Great. Thank you, George. Let me set this back up and we're going to start again. I'm going to go to the audience for a little bit, the little viewers that's made a comment to ask questions. So I'm going to pick two. We can go from there. And I've got a few more questions I'd like to ask. Before I go to the audience, I want to make everyone sure that you're watching the Knowledge is Power on Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. Knowledge is Power every Sundays and Tuesday evenings. I'm gonna stay with you, George, on this one. How are you different from the last JP? What would you do differently from the last Justice of the Peace? I should have put all that in one sentence here. But what would make you more different than the past JP?
You asking me?
I'm back to George. I'll come back to you.
Okay. What's different from the last JP? I would say my overall experience is different from the last JP. Last JP was an attorney, as I stated earlier. I have a criminal justice degree. And I have the experience, even though we have the same experience, I have that experience as he has. But like I said, look, I would focus on how to build upon what he's already created, and those programs that he has created. I would like to build upon those and because I know that they work. See, I had a nephew in his program. It was a drug addiction program. And that program helped him tremendously. Now he's productive in life. But what I want to do is, because I'm not an attorney, I would have to go to a different program. I'm looking at a program, currently looking at a program right now called What is ASAP? That program is through Spinotop. What that does is it works with the disability and people that have drug issues also. So, you know, it's going to be similar because this is what my passion is, because working in the courts, I see kids coming in kids came in custody that were, under the influence. So these are the things that I want to work on in advance. These are the things that I want to do and improve upon. Not so much change, but improve upon, because our children are our future. And that's what I want to do. I want to work with our future.
Thank you, George. Naomi, I'm back with you, Naomi. Miss Naomi Shower Doll, okay? Let me ask you this, Naomi. Who or what influenced you to run for JP?
So I have been researching the Justice of the Peace office for the last several years, kind of understanding exactly how impactful this court is to the community. And it's important that we know that the JP courts are often called the People's Court, because more of the community is going to experience the Justice of the Peace courts as opposed to any of the other courts in our county. Outside of municipal items, you would come to a JP court before you came to any other court. So that showed me that this court is actually have a real impact in our community. At the local level, we can actually make change. So when you look at what the duties are of a Justice of the Peace, very impactful in how we can actually implement the laws that exist to help our community. But more importantly, I saw people in 2018 in Harris County when I saw a flood of young African-American women, minority women running for office and winning. And I've been following the work that they've been doing, like Judge Hidalgo, the Harris County judge, the work that she's been doing, a young Hispanic female. And she went in that office and she had experience, as far as legislative understanding the law experience, but she came into a job that many thought she didn't deserve to be at the table for. And I find myself as a double minority, African-American female, as a double minority, I walk into rooms the same way. But the fortunate thing is I knew that I was prepared. God has prepared me for such a time as this through my educational grooming, through my internships, through my legislative and leadership experience. I've been groomed for such a time as this. I am responsive. I hear the people. The people are saying, we want something more than status quo. Yes, there are programs that exist in our county, in the JP offices, that are good for our community, but we can do better. We can do better. And it is not a slight to any of the JPs to say that you can do better and we can do more. The people are calling for more. And because I hear the cries of our people, when we see the protests, people are asking for more than the status quo. They want something different. Yes, we're going to do the job that is required of us. That's the standard. But we're asking for a standard of excellence, going above and beyond. And when I see people doing that out in the community, he listed a whole list of people who had law enforcement experience, but there's a litany of JPs that do not have law enforcement experience. And that's for a reason. Vi McGinnis was an amazing JP for our county. And she did amazing things in her office. And those are the kind of people that I look up to. I see the programs that exist, but I see that we can improve them and we can do better. We can be innovative. There are programs we can bring to our county right now. I don't have to look for programs. I have them and I have the means to implement them. And because I am passionate about this office and passionate about my community, I am ready to step in and I'm ready to improve the things that we have already in place. And seeing other elected officials do so, that is inspiring to me. Seeing those people, seeing those young ladies run and win in 2018 and following their career and the good work that they're doing, that's inspiring to me. And I know that it means something to people coming behind me for me to be in this particular moment right now and to be your next justice of the peace as your first African-American female judge in Jefferson County. That means something. And I'm here to make sure that I carry that mantle on for those who are coming behind me.
Okay, I was about to cut you off.
Just in time, just in time.
How about screen again? Okay, here we go. I'm going to come back to you right now again, Naomi, and I'm going to ask you this question here. I've got it written down here. Some years ago, JPs, Justice of the Peace, were involved with the BISD, helping with attendance. Is that something you would like to do, or is it forbidden now? And my second question to you is, and I want you to just flow with it. Other than being on the bench, what can you do to help our youth?
Absolutely. So truancy is no longer being seen in the JP courts until it gets to a very, very escalated level. And most school districts are not going to go to that level and get them to the courts at this point. So a lot of the teeth have come out of truancy law as it pertains to JP courts. However, there is a way for us to still address those things. And this actually answers the question that you asked me secondly. We can actually be present in the schools. Being present, just like other organizations are walking the halls, JPs can be present. JPs can give presentations. Also, mentorships are important. Mentorships, offering them the resources to have apprenticeships, to have internship capabilities. What's missing is that the generations, these younger generations, did not have, they don't have fostered a relationship with our generation that's going to lead them. That's what they need. They need someone who's going to foster a relationship with them, have mentorship opportunities for them to help them be better and not just protect them. And so unfortunately, a lot of the older generations, that's how they dealt with our generation. But what we can do is foster a better relationship by having mentorship opportunities, making sure that the children know that we are available, that we are here to hold them accountable as best as we can. And we may not be able to use the JP courts to do it as far as truancy is concerned, but we can partner with BISD, we can partner with the law enforcement to make sure that we have a presence so that people know that we are here and we are watching and we are holding you accountable. I'm a parent and all my children are in BISD. So I'm very aware of what it means to be present in the schools and what kind of effect that has on our kids. And so that is absolutely something that I will be doing. That is why I'm a volunteer in BISD as of now. I am a homeroom mom and all those things because it matters to be present. And that is what our youth need. Someone who's present.
Great answers. George Milhouse, also a candidate for runoff candidate for the Jefferson County Justice of Peace, place 1. Let me ask you this, George. I'm behind the screen now. I'm going to flip it over to you, and I'm going to turn your mic on. I muted. Okay, I unmute your mic. No, I didn't. Let me mute it. Okay, there we go. You're the one making all that noise in the background. Yeah, okay. Now let me ask you something. I mean, we're having issues right in this country, racial divide, police brutality. How do you feel about the current event, and what is your stance on the issue of police brutality?
Well, I would start off by I am not satisfied with what's going on in America today with the police department. We could do better, but I would say, as you know, I spent my entire career in law enforcement. I'm a native of Selma, Alabama, and my family and mother are still there. As a constant reminder, every time I go to Selma, I cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So, seeing that Edmund Pettus Bridge and looking at footage, from the 60s and 70s and talking to people from that era, and growing up in the 70s, that's and seeing what's going on right now, it resonates. It goes back. It reminds me of the injustices that my parents talked about and they lived through. And so, as far as the police department and what's going on, I'm definitely not satisfied. And what we need to do is we need to work to do better. I said something on your podcast the other day that some of the things that we need to do as people, first we need to vote. We need to get out and vote. We need to sit in the jury box, and we need to spend money in our community. Those are three things that we definitely need to do, and we need to fill out the census, because that's your voice, and having a voice is something that you need to exercise. There again, I've both witnessed and experienced humane treatment by law enforcement officers, as well as people of color and of color and non-color. I've seen it, I've been around it, and there again, I'm not satisfied with what's going on in this climate, this day and time. What needs to be, we need to address and believe, based on the country has experienced over the last few years, the climate is changing, and I look forward to being part of the change by serving as a justice of the peace and implementing the change on both sides of history. This is a time that with the federal government are writing new laws. They're looking at Texas laws right now because back in 2017 we reformed our justice system. So with the protests that are going on right now, the brutality that has taken place, I should say the murders that have taken place, it's time for a change. It's time for a change.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. Good answer, George Milhouse. Let's go to the viewers now. We're going to ask some questions here, and I'm going to place one here on Naomi. It's coming from Matthews Candice, and that is. Let's go here. I'm sorry. Let me change the screen here. I'm sorry. Let's go. Here we go. What will you do to put in place to stop decriminalization of children, which is the start of the prison pipeline?
So first of all, a lot of things need to change in our school system first, because that is where they first experience the criminalization in the school system. And I've worked with advocates before that the school to prison pipeline advocates who actually are working to disband it. And they were actually at an NAACP meeting, and they were talking about different ways that the school systems can change in order to help with the criminalization that is experienced in the schools. But when we talk about it from a justice of the peace standpoint, in the way that I actually administer the rulings and the way that bonds are set, or the way that I am able to rule in a particular case. So if a child comes before me with their parent in court, I'm able to look at the totality of the situation, to look at this child, look at their background, and say, okay, this kid's mom doesn't need to have $1,000 fine on her, because that is not going to help that child. That is not going to help that family. And that is the leeway that we have within the confines of the law. When you understand the law, you understand how you can work the law to be in the advantage of the community. So in the rulings that I administer, I'm going to make sure that I look at the totality of the situations, and I am not ruling in such a way that it's going to disenfranchise people of color, white people, anyone, Democrats, Republicans, because I have to represent everyone. So I am going to put a great focus on making sure that I look at the totality of the situation. I look at all aspects of a case before I make a judgment. And I am not going to be over policing children, because that is not the answer. The answer is they need mentorship. You want to see something different from these children, we need to show them something different. It starts in our school systems. It starts in our homes. And it's going to start with me as your next justice of the peace, because I'm going to be in the schools just like I am with my own children. Because once I become JP, all the people in our community become my children. And I care about the future of our community, and I care about the future of children. And because of that, I'm going to be in the schools, making sure that I'm working with them to dismantle some of those things that are actually creating that type of environment. And I'm going to make sure if they come before me in court, and I hope that they don't, if they come before me in court, that I look at their situation and I do not over penalize them for the things that are taking place. That is the role of a person who cares about their community, a person who is in this to better the community.
Thank you. Thank you. George, can you chime in on that same question? What would you do? Would you put in place to stop the decriminalization of children, which is the start of the prison pipeline? Oh, I'm sorry. I had your mic muted because you're making a lot of noise in the background. Okay, start it over again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear that popping noise. I don't know where it's coming from, but yeah, I was in that same meeting in the NAACP, and the young man that came and spoke, Prison to Pipeline. I'm very familiar with that because when I was at BISD, I took a course in that very subject. And that is something that I'm very familiar with when I was a lieutenant there at BISD and at Texas State University. So, but the programs, my biggest program that I would look at once again is the drug issue. We have a drug issue with our youth, and that's something that I definitely want to take a close look at to get programs in place that would help our youth. To enable our youth to be a productive citizen, because they're our future. I think I said that earlier. They're our future, and that's what I'm looking at. Because one thing that my wife and we've started a business, and one thing that I see is that a lot of adults have drug issue, which that transcends into kids, young adults, and all the way to the young people, the adolescents. So what I want to do is get into there again, these programs, get them started where we can make productive citizens out of our youth. As far as in court, one thing that I will do is I will have an open mind, and strive to be fair, and to all people that come before my court. I want to make sure that all the arguments are heard and given the opportunity for all voices to be heard, to be fair in the decision, and see all the decisions while being guided by the law and by my beliefs and experience. So these are the things that I see that are going on. These are the things that I will be doing in my court is to be open-minded and to understand and be fair. As my opponent stated, with the way the structure is, well, I won't say she stated, but the laws are written where the JP has a lot of leeway. So, from everything from dismissing the case to fining, apparently she did say that she had a parent come in. You don't want to give them a big fine. You want to look at our community service-based program. That's something that you work with the kids, get them into those programs, community-based programs, and give them goals and aspiration. When I got into this, that was one of the things that I really was pushing was goals, because I noticed that kids did not have the goals. They didn't have the people in place to help them decide on what they want to do in life.
Okay, thank you, George. Yeah, I'm cutting you off. You rolling. You rolling. I'm going back to Mrs. Showers. And this question is coming from John Dean, and it's asking, don't the justice of the peace has to have a relationship with law enforcement since they issues warrants and set bonds on criminal offenses?
In short, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, we have to have a relationship with law enforcement, but we need to be clear that law enforcement does have its place in policing our community, making sure that they protect and they serve our community, and that the JP, the judge in the justice courts, is the one who is actually able to administer the rulings on cases that do involve misdemeanors up to classy misdemeanors that don't involve jail time, and setting bonds and arraigning prisoners. Those things are done by the judge. And like I said before, what we're seeing, and I support law enforcement, I support good law enforcement. What we see when we see the bad actors in law enforcement are law enforcement people who have gone above and beyond what they are tasked to do. We ask that you protect and you serve our community and you enforce the laws that exist, but we don't ask you to be judge, jury, and sometimes executioner in our community. So yes, we absolutely have to have a relationship. I look forward to having a great working relationship with law enforcement. They will find me to be a very supportive judge. However, I will not tolerate any injustice, any inequality. None of that is tolerated. That's not tolerated in my personal life, and nor will it be tolerated behind the bench.
All right. Okay. You saving a little time there. Great. Let's go to another question here from the viewers. And let's see what we have here. Do we have any more questions here? Let's see here. Hey, folks, those who are watching, please share our video, share our podcast, Knowledge is Power podcast, to your friends, family, loved ones, everyone that needs to know. We need to know who we're going to vote for. We need to know our candidates, and we have to vote to have power. And it starts from the local all the way to the top. So please, people, vote. We got to vote this year like we never voted before. It's like our lives depends on it. So I'm gonna have a better microphone next week. My sounds are breaking up and I'm freezing a little bit. My words are choppy, but I'm getting there one day at a time. Let me ask this question here. Was sent to me to ask, and that is, when is the deadline for the voters registration? Is it July 5th?
June 15th. So Monday,
June 15th.
Okay, great. June 15th will be that time for that.
And that's even to make address changes. So guys, if you've moved or anything like that, so you don't run into any issues when you get to the polling location or with your mail ballots, make sure you make any of those address changes before June 15th.
Okay.
And I want to make sure everybody knows their early voting locations. I spoke with Commissioner Alford today because over in the North End, I need to get a voting location over there, early voting location. I'm looking at making sure that everybody's represented in the Golden Triangle or in Beaumont, Texas.
Great. Let me ask you a question, George. Do you have? Well, I'm gonna just ask either one of you guys to answer. Do you all have to run again in November?
No.
When I win in July, that's it.
No.
That's it. No Republican opponent.
No opponent.
No opponent. No opponent. Okay. Well, let me
take a seat.
All right. I want to ask each of you this question. What is your opinion about defunding the police department in the larger cities? I know it's not happening here, but who knows what the future holds? Either one want to go first? I got the time.
Well, I think that's a bad idea. Defunding the police department. What are you going to do? Bring in the military? Because that's what's going to happen. Defunding the police department is the worst thing that we can do. What we need to do is, first we need to start with you. you need to get out and vote. Let's start with that. And those criteria that I gave: vote, census, spending your money in your neighborhood, and the jury box. But defunding the police department is the worst thing that we can do. We need to when we vote, we need to vote for the correct president. We need people of our interest. That's what we need to do. President, vice president, governors, the mayors, any local, the councilman, JP, which thank you for voting for me, George Milhouse, for Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. We need experienced people in those positions, people that have knowledge and know how and can do the job effective day one.
Thank you, George. Again, let's move on to, I just got another comment here, and I'm going to post it. So I'm sorry to cover you up, George. So let's read this question here. It's coming from Bernie Menard. And let me read it first. I just popped up, and I want to make sure we try to answer all our viewers' comments and questions. He said that he volunteered at the LL Milton YMCA for several years. When that closed, black kids lost mentorship, sports, biblical teaching, and we can talk all we can, but until we band together to take back in our community, our own community, what was taken from our kids will continue not having a place to go. That's true. We don't have a place for kids to go. But we even had community service for the young kids. We need to band together and buy property or buy back the LL Milton. Professionals has come through the LL Milton that's gone on, that's come through as kids, that's gone on and grown up. And I understand that question, but I'm gonna move that question off the screen. So I don't know if that is part of your territory as a piece, but let's discuss it.
Yeah, so I mean, a big part of how I want to be impactful to our youth is mentorship. And yeah, so when you don't have a place where kids can congregate safely, we do have a problem. I mean, the Sterling Pruitt Center in the North End is an amazing facility. And so many kids enjoy that. And I love going there. I love seeing the kids. And you being there, your presence there means something. So yeah, I mean, we can't actually make the LL Milton Y come back into fruition. But what we can do is be mentors to these children. I have three teens that I'm mentoring currently outside of my children and her friends. But we do this because it matters for someone to reach back to these kids. So I understand they don't have a place, and that's something that we can look into. We can fight as a community outside of JP office. We can fight as individuals and say, hey, we need a place for our kids to go. And I'm willing to join in with that fight. But first and foremost, I'm making sure that I'm mentoring. I'm going to be the change that I want to see. So I want to see a change as far as our adults addressing our youth. I'm going to be that change. People in my house are going to be that change. Everybody I know needs to be that change. And then also bringing those resources through the JP office to associate these kids that may have problems or these problematic kids, associating them with somebody who can help them, because so many times these kids need someone to talk to, someone who can show them something different. I've seen it. I've seen how mentorships can change lives. I've seen how exposing people to different activities, different ideas can actually change and better those kids. So those are the kind of things that we can do in the meantime. Those are the things that we can do to help these kids and help our community. And those are the things that I already am doing and will continue to do. I actually have a virtual summit coming on June 20th that is bringing resources to our community for free to the community. Mental health experts, financial experts, real estate experts, people to help us transition in this pandemic, because it's not new. This isn't something I have to wait to get into office to do. Right now, we can be the change that we want to see right now.
All right, great. One more last question, George.
Yes.
What will you do on day one?
Day one.
Yes.
My duties on day one. My first duty is to assess my staff. That's my first duty, because I do understand that Judge Dollinger has a very knowledgeable staff. So that would be my first assessment. Secondly, I will, identify procedures to improve upon. I think I stated earlier, or maybe I did, but let me just touch on what I want to do is expand the internet information that's on the internet. That way people can file cases, and they can have self-help books that will help them as they navigate through the forms to file those necessary cases. So those are one and two things that day one that I will be off and doing.
Okay, girl, George, thank you. Right on time. All right, let's go back here, and I'm going to say, guys, you have been wonderful guests. I threw you guys a bunch of softballs. I didn't want to throw any curves and stinkers on you, but I wanted to be fair to each of both of you all, and you both are good candidates. I want to ask this person a question, and I know I've asked other questions before, but I have Dr. Matthews text over a question, and it is, and I'm trying to find it here, and I want to ask that question again. This time, where is she? Do you guys have any legislative experience for this position?
Legislative experience? Yes, I am the only candidate with legislative experience. I actually interned at the Texas House of Representatives, where I was on the Small Business and Economic Development Committee, charged with researching bills, actually putting together analysis of the bills, understanding the intents of the bill and the unintended consequences of the bill, because I had to present this to my representative, who then had to decipher, is this something that I need to fight for? And so I was able to do that through extensive research and understanding the laws. That is something I currently do as your elections manager in Jefferson County. I have to understand the laws that exist on a federal, state, and local level. I do that every single day, and it changes. It has been changing almost weekly with the way that this pandemic is going. So I have to stay abreast on those things and make sure that I am implementing the laws in the best interest of the voters. So yes, I am the candidate with the legislative experience. And that is what you need when you have a judge, someone who understands the laws, how to read them, how to decipher them, also the intent and the unintended consequences, because you can be lawful and you can be oppressive. And we need someone who's going to be fair and just, read the laws, and have the best interest for the community when they deliver rulings.
Tony. Okay, Tony.
I'm sorry. Anybody listening to me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and see you now.
Okay, great. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'll say this. I will go. Oh, you're back. Well, I was about to say, well, I, as far as legislative experience, I take legislative courses, through continuing ed courses, education. As far as being a supervisor, I've written policies and procedures. These are things that runs a department, run a organization. So, I didn't go to Austin, but Austin came to me.
Okay.
So I have that experience, knowledge, and know how to do it.
Experience means a whole lot. And being wasn't you a police officer before?
Yes, I was a police officer, sergeant, and lieutenant.
Wow. Okay, great. So
Belmont Police Department.
I was trained through Beaumont Police Department through the Lamar University Police Academy, which Beaumont Police Department also attends that academy. They graduate, and we go out through Port Arthur, Beaumont, Orange. Everybody goes to that academy. So we all have the same training, the same knowledge, and the understanding
law
of the law.
Correct, in law enforcement.
All right, great, guys. You guys been
internship.
Yeah. Okay, you guys been great. You guys, whoever wins is going to be a good candidate.
Thank you.
I can't be biased, but you guys are going to be a great candidate. Let me
I look forward to representing you with excellence.
Yes. I will hope that. But one thing I'm going to make sure you understand this. Whoever may win, Tony Renfro going to make sure I make you accountable.
Absolutely. I welcome that.
I've been accountable for 30 years.
Say that again.
I've been accountable for 30 years, and I want you to keep me accountable.
All right. We're going to be on top of it. But I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to bring you back again after the election, and I want to hear what you plan on doing, what you're going to do, how we're going to reach our youth. That's important. And then just for the peace, you're going to have a lot of youth coming through there, and we're not going to slam them in behind the bars. We're going to educate them. We're going to spend some time, put them in an apprenticeship program, give them a trade. We're going to do something with our youth, not just throw them down 69. Be a mentor.
Exactly.
Be a mentor.
I have been endorsed by the Sabine Area Labor Council. I just wanted to make sure I shouted them out because they have been instrumental in what we're going to be doing with our youth, with the apprenticeship programs that will be available to our youth, because I have such a great partnership with them. I am a true supporter of labor and trade. They will also be featured in my virtual summit on June 20th. That is a free resource to all the community. And the People's Political Action Committee also saw me as a true advocate for the people and endorsed me as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I shouted them out, because that means so much to have people who actually are true servants in the community endorse you. So thank you so much for that. And I look forward to the partnerships and apprenticeships that we can bring to our community and to our youth through trades and skilled labor.
George, you have any last words?
Last words, vote George Milhouse, Justice of the Peace. I expect to be nominated as your next Justice of the Peace, July 14th.
Great.
Actually, and I would appreciate to you voting me in, because that is my birthday, and what a great birthday wish. Well,
happy birthday and happy whatever birthday you have. That's right. I'm not gonna go there. But listen, guys, thank you so much, Naomi Showers, Doyle, and Mr. George Milhouse. I really thank you guys. You guys are gonna be a great candidate, but I want you to understand me. I want you to hear me. You must get from behind the bench and let's mentor our youth.
Absolutely.
We must do the right thing. We must do the right thing. Okay, guys?
Exactly.
We need to save our children.
That is the plan. That is the plan.
We need to save our children. And I'll be counting on you guys, okay? Now, before we close, I want to also mention to the audience that on Sunday we have a big job fair here on Knowledge is Power, Sunday at 7:30. Please join us. And those who are watching have watched us a little bit here tonight, please share our video all over the place. We want to educate our people. We want to have them there. But here's my last thought for the night. Remember, we have to vote. We've got to vote as if our life depends on it. Starting July 14th. When is the early voting starts?
June 29th through July 10th.
That's right. June 29th. Okay, great. I want June 29th to July
10th.
We want to slam and overwhelm the voting polls on the runoff to show them that we're ready for this, and we're gonna be ready in November. Because see, folks don't understand that if our votes didn't matter that much, then why they try to take it from us? Why they try to take it from us?
And you're absolutely right.
Our votes don't.
And that's
the reason
why, Tony. That's the reason why I stated earlier. People need to find out their voting location, because the north end of Beaumont needs to be open, and it's not open for early voting.
It's
I
not?
spoke to Commissioner Alford. No, it's not. Commissioner Alford, he brought it to his attention today. For some reason, they have taken that polling site away. So it needs to be open because we have elderly people in that area, and it's just like HEB. They took HEB. Now people have to get across town to try to shop. Well, we need our people to be able to vote in close to their home, not having to go across town to Rogers Park or downtown.
Well, you telling me they're not a voting?
Go online. Go online. It's there. It's there. I had to get with Commissioner Albert today concerning that.
Yeah, there are only 5 early voting locations. There's one for every single commissioner precinct. And then the additional one is in the Beaumont Courthouse. So yeah, John Paul Davis is not being used for this particular election, and that is approved through your commissioner's court. So you definitely need to contact your commissioner about that issue.
And the election coordinator also.
That blew my mind.
We don't have an elections manager, but it is approved through the commissioner's court as to where the early voting locations and election day locations are established.
This is how you fight. This is how you fight. You make sure that everybody can vote. And the election.
And we do have mail ballot applications for voters who are 65 years of age or older, or voters with disabilities. So we encourage anyone who is 65 years of age or older, or a voter with a disability, to get a mail ballot application by calling the elections office, 409-835-8760. We'll get you the application to make sure you're able to vote in the safety of your own home. So please call us if you would like to vote by mail. And we've got to increase the mail ballot voters because of COVID-19. But just be sure if you're 65 years of age or older, or a voter with a disability, that you take advantage of that if that is your choosing.
Hey,
and that's a good deal. But the governor expanded voting to 2 weeks, and we need it because we have people that like to go to the polls, directly to the polls.
Absolutely.
To vote. And so that would allow those people to exercise their right the way that they are used to exercising their right over the years.
Absolutely.
Hey, okay, that's about wraps it up. Thank you again, candidates, for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Place 1. Good luck in your runoff. It's time to get on hit the ground running now. We don't have
Yes, sir.
my favorite cousin, Dr. Candace Matthew out of Houston, who have the Truth to Power podcast. I'm thinking she's wanting to invite you guys on, and she sent me a message here. She's blowing my phone up. So be aware, she's going to be contacting you two guys again.
Excellent.
Yeah, she got a motor mouth, boy, and you better have y'all together because she knows.
Yeah,
good, very good.
Podcast. I watched Candace's podcast, Dr. Candace's podcast, and she's a firecracker.
Yeah, she's a mess. But anyway, guys, I thank you again. Again, folks, join me at Knowledge is Power on Facebook Live and YouTube Live every Sunday and Tuesday evening. Thank you. God bless you. Make sure you keep the social distance, put a mask on, and wash your hands. Stay safe. Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.